welcome to DDM Morning Show. I am Tosh Raphael, joined by DDM analyst Ibrahim Umawase. Ibrahim, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mr. Tochuko Raphael. Good morning, everyone.
We are reaching you live on this day, Wednesday, 30th of July, 2025. And here are stories we have for you today. On insecurity, bandits kill 38 hostages in Zamfara state after 50 million naira ransom payment. And then we are going to talk about the Nigerian government that has, expressed commitment to rescuing the remaining Chibok girls, including Leah Nigeria's economy, weak naira, high prices. Is the common man in Nigeria doomed or hopeful? So stay tuned as we unfold these stories. Let's start with the first story on security. On July 28, 2025, tragedy struck Banga village in Kaura Namoda local government area of Zamfara state, Nigeria, where 38 hostages abducted by armed bandits were killed, even after their families and community reportedly delivered a ransom of over 50 million naira for their release. This is a very sad one. According to the chairman of Kaura Namoda, Mina Haidara Kaura, 56 persons were initially abducted during the raid, but only 18 were eventually released and subsequently hospitalized for medical care. And the payment of ransom secured the safe return of most captives. This massacre has plunged the affected community and the region at large into deep mourning and renewed fear. Now, this event is situated amid a broader wave of insecurity plaguing Zamfara state and Nigeria's northwest in 2025. Banditry, armed kidnapping for ransom, cattle rustling, and violent raids has escalated into a grave security and humanitarian crisis. Criminal gangs, locally called bandits, operate with impunity, targeting villages, highways, schools, and farm communities. Kidnapping for ransom has become alarming, and school children continue to be reported. Now, despite intensified military actions and ad hoc state security initiatives, authorities are often maneuvered and outmaneuvered by heavily armed gangs. Sometimes, some communities reportedly abandoned by state protection have turned to directly negotiating with bandits, to secure a fragile peace. And this underscores the absence of effective government intervention. This is a sad one. Nigeria still grapples with insecurity. Since 2015, 2009, when Boko Haram started, it has been a gradual worsening and aggravation of the security situation. Under Buhari, we had the worst of it. Unknown government in the southeast, banditry in the northwest, the farmer header clashes in the north central, Boko Haram in the northeast. Then we have the splinter insecurity incidences of cult clashes in the southwest and the rest of them. So, what's your take on this, Ibrahim? Let me start with you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. As a deeply concerned Nigerian citizen, I am heartbroken and outraged. Ordinary Nigerians are tired of endless condolences message, tired of leaders who speak more than they act. How many more lives must be lost before our leadership starts acting? Is the Nigerian government truly in control? Or are we being governed by press releases? The recent murder of these 38 hostages in Zamfara, despite the pay, don't forget, 50 million ransom. It's not just another tragic headline. It is a damning indictment of a system that has failed its people. What kind of nation allows its citizens to be slaughtered like animals after their families have been extorted of life-changing songs? What message are we sending to the world? That Nigeria is a republic of ransom and a federation of fear? This is more than a security lapse. It is a collapse of government responsibility. It reveals a terrifying truth. I'm sorry. the Nigerian state is fast losing its monopoly on violence, and citizens are now at the mercy of non-state actors. Where is the intelligence network? Where is the rapid response forces? Where is the justice system? Or have we quietly surrendered the whole country to warlords? The killing of these hostages shows that Nigeria today is at the mercy of these warlords. You can either pay with your life, or even after paying the ransom, they might decide to kill you anyway. There's no security in Nigeria anyway. There's no deterrence. There's no accountability. What kind of justice system exists when bandits operate with impunity? Boko Haram still exists. Unknown gunmen everywhere in the country. No safe haven. The government should know that security is not a favor; it is a right. I think the best and core tenets of democracy is rule of law, and securing the life and properties of the weak and vulnerable citizenry is the main essence of the existence of government. And leadership is not about occupying office. It is about protecting lives. Enough is enough. We demand decisive action from the government. We demand reform in our security architecture. We demand justice for the slave. And above all, we demand a country where we can sleep without our eyes closed. This country is bleeding. It is no longer news. And it is sad, very, very sad indeed.
One would think, is this a matter of lack of investment in, the defense mechanism or in military equipment to defend the country? Because commentators and experts have continued to suggest, the purchase modern equipment like drones and the rest of them in order to prevent all these, incessant attacks. But I don't know how much the Nigerian government has invested in this, venture. Let's have your thoughts, Mr. Ogochukwu.
I believe the problem of Nigeria is both the government, the security, law enforcement agents, the security apparatus, the security architecture, and also the citizenry. We have to take responsibility. There's a statistics I saw, I think from 2020 to date, Nigeria budgeted the largest share of Nigerian budget goes to defense, which is security. And I saw a statistics that in 2020 alone, Nigeria budgeted 426 billion naira for army alone, not just the security, but for army alone. And that 426 billion, 400 billion was budgeted in 2020. 400 billion was budgeted for capital expenditure, while only 26 million was budgeted for 400 billion for recurring expenditure. Only 26 million was budgeted for capital expenditure. So, and look at the statistics of people that were killed through insecurity in Nigeria 2020. Fast forward 2021, Nigeria budgeted 500 billion for army alone, not just the security generally, but army alone. So, reading between the lines, insecurity in Nigeria is a cash cow business. So the military doesn't want the insecurity to end, because once the insecurity finish, this money will stop coming. It is as simple as that. We should start calling a spade a spade. Nigeria is spending the largest share of its budget to security, while consistently we're failing. We saw the footages of some military who cover their names, their voices on even reliable media outlets, saying that they lack ammunition. Can you imagine a soldier on the battlefront lacking even the bullets to use to protect himself, talk less of the sovereignty of the country. So that's what we are suffering from. The country has deteriorated completely. It is no longer news that Nigeria is a failed state. We should go back to the drawing board, and I believe it is only the young minds. This country belongs to us. All these people that are saying a vision, they have vision for Nigeria. Let me ask you a simple question. They will not live to witness that future. Who among them is going to live to see to witness 50 years to come? This is our responsibility. And I believe our children will ask us this simple question. What have you done when Nigeria was deteriorating? What have you done? That's the question. And we should take a responsibility. I believe in this Hausa adage that if you think you're too small to make a difference, you haven't spent the night with a mosquito. We should stand and say no.
Yeah. Excuse me. Now, let me remind our leaders about the consequences and implications of insecurity on humanitarian crisis. The continuing spate of bandit attacks has resulted in thousands of deaths. Now, we don't talk about, you know, the mortality rate happening in tens or 20s, but mass abductions, mass death, massacres happening almost on a daily basis, and mass displacement of villagers, disruption of agriculture. We preach agriculture, and we have always, our politicians have always told and continue to tell Nigerians to venture into agriculture. We have been so much dependent on oil. But how can we go to our farms? Now, just recently, I think yesterday, it was reported in the news that 7 farmers were massacred in Ondo State. And I think either Ondo or Osun, when they went to harvest in their farms. So how can we go to our farms when the farm and the forest, the bushes have been taken over, dominated by bandits and terrorists? It is ridiculous. So we first of all solve the problem of insecurity. Now, what about the economy? What about the economy? Farmers are being forced, also I've mentioned that, of their land. Businesses have collapsed, and the rural economy in much of Northwest and across Nigeria is paralyzed. Ransom payments further impoverish already vulnerable communities. Now, in terms of governance and security breakdown, the inability of security forces to prevent or respond to such atrocities reveals a deep crisis of governance and a severe erosion of trust in state institutions. Some communities now see dialogue with criminal groups as their only path to survival, signifying a de facto surrender of legitimate authority. Hey, Brian, what do you think about this, communicating with terrorists or negotiating with terrorists? Do you think it is a sign of complete failure on the part of the government? Do you think it is sensible for the government to negotiate with terrorists?
Sometimes you forget about just your normal feelings and do what is right. So, with regards to having dialogue with terrorists, I believe to some reasonable extent, the government has been to secure the life of the citizenry. So they are trying now to reach a compromise, them and the terrorist organization, which indicates that they are failed completely. But the primary aim is to secure the life and properties of the vulnerable Nigerians. So if they are going to secure a deal that is sustainable, then I welcome it. But it must be sustainable and make sure that you fix your problems so that some people will not, other people will not capitalize on that. Because basically going to have a dialogue with the terrorists and shaking hand with him is sending a negative message to other people that you can do bad things at the long run. If you survive it, then the government will pay you for doing bad things. They will pay you for terrorizing vulnerable citizens. They have to fix that structure. For example, look at what is happening in the world. Look at how countries are growing at an astonishing pace. What is happening to us Africans? That's the real issue that kills me every day. Nigeria, by landmass, human and material resources, population, we have it all. What is the problem? Honestly speaking, we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves this question. Are we the cause or we are caused? Honestly speaking, there's somewhere there's a problem going somewhere, definitely. Nigeria by landmass is more than the size of UK. UK and France combined, Nigeria is larger than both UK and France. By population, Nigeria is more populous than the United Kingdom, France, and Belgium combined. And even Spain, we are estimatedly more than 200 million inhabitants in the country. And just look at how we are. The only thing we do is opposition trying to take over from the current administration. That's what we are good at. We fail it as a society. We fail. Honestly, we fail. Our children go to our educational institutions. Just 50 years ago, Nigeria has the best universities in Africa. But currently, if you're going to go and check top 20 universities in Africa, none of Nigerian university will make the cut. 20 universities in Africa, not in the world. Believe me, none of Nigerian university will make the cut in the top 1,000 in the world. What's the message? Like, no society will grow above its educational standards. So definitely, going by that fact, you know that Nigeria is due. And we should stop fooling ourselves. A community whereby the youths are now debating whether education is a scam or not, because they have failed us. Clearly, you go to the university,
indeed.
spend your years, I will call it waste your years, only for you to come back and start looking for a job. Not just the job, you'll be ridiculed by those who did not go to the university. A social media influencer just ridiculed education in Nigeria. Let me say ridicule education in Italy. He said, I'm going to hire 2 people to be taking care of my camera. But the master's degree holders. Look at the disrespect. Look at what the government has subjected Nigerian youth. It is quite sad. Discussing about Nigeria is always hard work. Sad.
Thank you very much. Mr. Goshuku, I don't know if you have any contribution. Yes, I can hear you.
I wouldn't want to say that Mr. Ibrahim has started getting very emotional here. Because it's very glaring that the situation of Nigeria can drive you crazy, can make you frustrated. But he has even answered it from the very first statements he made when he said the leadership, if they are not doing anything about it, it's because somehow, we have to be honest with ourselves, they are benefiting from it. If they were not benefiting from it, so I think even later Abacha said something about it. I don't want to go into all of that. So if they are not doing anything about it, it's because they are benefiting. Now, you did something called the BVA. How are these bandits, these kidnappers, how are they able to get these monies wired to them that you can't trace them? How are they communicating to request for ransom? These are questions we should just ask ourselves. And well, I don't want to say Nigeria is doomed. I want to believe that there's still hope for this country. Yes, they say there's power in the tongue. So I want to keep speaking good for the country. But then I am not saying what Mr. Wase said is out of place. No, it's totally correct. It is driving a lot of us crazy. The poor masses are not safe. Nowhere is safe. Which place is safe in this country? Some people will tell you, there's nowhere safe in the world. But then, when you look outside Nigeria, you find out that the value placed on lives is higher. Unlike here, what you get after any incident is we denounce, we condemn. You condemn by doing what? By lip service? No, now you just condemn. We condemn this act that happened to so place, and the story dies there. So we need to do a lot beyond rhetorics, beyond just talking. They know what to do. Let me put it this way: our leaders know what to do. They know what to do to fix this thing. And if they want Nigeria fixed, we too, as citizens, we should do our best possible. 2027 is not far from here. Let's start putting ourselves together and not sell our rights for a pot of porridge. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ugochukwu. Now, still on security matters, because insecurity has overtaken all the headlines, in various media channels. Contrary to some circulating claims about lost hope, the Nigerian federal government has publicly reaffirmed its commitment to securing the release of the remaining Chibok schoolgirls and Leah Sharibu as of July 29, 2025. During a press briefing by the national coordinator of the National Counterterrorism Center, Major General Adamu Gabalata, the government made it clear that they have not given up hope, I mean to say, and that rescue efforts remain ongoing. This stance was reiterated across several government and media channels on July 29th, 2025. Now, this underscores that despite years of difficulty and criticism, oppressions and negotiations continue quietly behind the scenes. Very sad indeed. Now, let's have a brief, flashback of what happened. On April 14th, 2014, 276 girls were abducted from their school in Chibok, Borno State, in northeast Nigeria. Since then, 189 have either escaped or been released, but around 87 remain in captivity 11 years later. Now, Leah Sharibu abducted on February 19, 2018 from Dapuchi, Yobe State in Northeast also with 109 others. All but 5 were eventually released. Leah Sharibu, the only Christian among the group, was reportedly held back for refusing to convert to Islam, making her case particularly emblematic of religious and the gender dimensions in Nigeria's insecurity crisis. Officials note that progress has been gradual, a combination of negotiations, military actions, and escapes by hostages themselves. Security sources emphasize that the government maintains operational for tactical reasons, or loss of hope. However, parents and civil society groups continue to express frustration, citing a lack of transparent communication, slow progress, and unfulfilled promises to secure the girls' reports of forced marriages and inadequate post-rescue support. Very sad indeed. Ibrahim, what's your take on this?
All right, once again, um, I received the message with an utter disbelief. I can't lie. It's sad, but this is Nigeria. Here we go again. For the government of the country that swore an oath to protect every citizen to openly admit that it has lost hope on Chibok girls is not just shameful, it is a betrayal of the highest order. How do you lose hope on our daughters? If Leah Sharif is the daughter of the president, will he lose hope on her? I don't think so. So,
Well, I think the government said it has not lost hope. Contrary to what the rumor, initially peddled. Because I don't think that the government can confidently, publicly declare that they have lost hope on the girls. So they reiterated their commitment towards rescuing, some of these girls. But
okay,
what is your take?
okay. With that being said, I got it. I got it.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
with that being said, they should do it in action rather than just words. We heard their promises, time and again, that carries no water. It's high time for them to start acting positively. I thought they said they lost hope on her. So that was why I was enraged. But let them do a tangible thing. This is 11 years ago. We're still going back to something that happened 11 years ago. That signifies and that shows the, should I say, the sharpness in our institution. So they should find a way to bring back those girls, the remaining girls from Boko Haram terrorists, bring them back to their own family and do the needful. And I believe they know what to do to get these hostages back.
Yes, it is quite disheartening and disconcerting that the trauma that the parents of these girls have been facing over the years, particularly the parents of Leah Sharibu. Now, what do you think about the religious, sentiment in this? Because we know that there was a time that Leah Sharibu was reported to have been married off and even gotten pregnant. But there was a picture of her uh, her stomach was bulging out, Yeah. So, what do you think could be the solution to this religious disunity in Nigeria, Ibrahim?
All right, I'm not looking at it as religious disunity. And it is wrong to look at it through that lens. Terrorism is terrorism, regardless of who and how it happens. She happens to be one of the Christians, not the only Christians among the people they adopted. Some of the girls decided to second what the terrorists wanted them to. This is not religious disunity. I don't believe that any peace-loving Muslim will do such thing. I don't want to convert anyone. I'm satisfied with what I have, but I don't care about what you think so long as it's not going to directly disrespect what I believe. So these extremists, and I believe there are extremists everywhere. So we should try to de-radicalize these extremists from every sapphire of life and also educate them, because it is quite sad that even the media in Nigeria are taking side. Everybody is taking side these days. There's that selective morality in Nigeria. You see that if something happened to the particular group, it's gain more traction and sympathy on the media's leads. So, and I make the question, are we truly moral, or we are just being sentimental? Even some people that claim to be activists, they are clearly showing that they have a side in their activism. And I would like to disabuse them of that notion. If you're an activist, you have to stand for humanity. You have to stand for what is true, regardless of the principles. So it is quite sad because not just the institution, not just the government, but also Nigerians, we have to change the path we see things, because generalization, stigmatization, and stereotype have a negative side, and I'm a living witness to that. If you go to Plateau State today as a Christian, if something is happening, or as a Muslim, and you happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, you become a victim of circumstance. That's not because you know what is going on, because of generalization, stereotype, and stigmatization, that these are our enemies. But in reality, these identities are being recognized deliberately to achieve a goal, not that we are the real problem. Religion is not our problem in Nigeria. And tribalism is not even our problem in Nigeria. A common Nigerian, we poor and vulnerable Nigerians, we are united in hardship. We are united in insecurity. Both the poor and vulnerable are subjected to marginalization and manipulation by elite in both regions. So it's not about religion, and I don't want to see a young Nigerian looking at it from the lens of religion. It is clearly terrorism,
All right.
and
Wow.
we condemn terrorism.
Okay. All right. I have gotten your point. Mr. Gochuku, let's have your thoughts.
Okay, just like Ibrahim said, it's not so much about religiousness, if I'll use that language. I would always say you are human first before being whatever religion you choose to belong to. You didn't choose to become a Muslim or Christian from, birth. You chose it when you came off reason. You came up to the point of reason to say, okay, yes, let's go with what my parents are doing. They are Christians. Let me go with Christianity. They are Muslims. Let me go with Islam. So it is not a question of you being born. You didn't choose it. It's not your choice. But then let's be honest with ourselves. It is something that our leaders unfortunately have weaponized, like Ibrahim has said. I always say this: if I want to create a confusion between two people, I find a ground that will cause confusion between the two. I will not say something reasonable. I will definitely come up with something unreasonable or something that will get them to argue or fight among themselves. This is what we just get. It's as simple as that. Why, if it was that bad, why then do we have that unity when there's a football match? Nobody remembers the tribe. Nobody remembers the religion. Nobody remembers that it's a Muslim who scored the goal. Nobody remembers it's a Christian who made the save. So if we could have that unity, it means that somebody somewhere or some people somewhere are having that joy to create confusion among the people. And unfortunately, we ourselves, like I always say, we ourselves have fallen gullible to these antics. And then coming back to Sharibu, let's ask ourselves the question: has abductions or have abductions stopped? There was a 4-year interval between the, from what you just said now, a 4-year interval between the abduction in Chibok and the one in Dachi, where Leah was involved. So does it mean that 200 people were taken like mosquitoes? If I will use Ibrahim's analogy now, 200 people were taken like mosquitoes, or 200 plus people were taken like mosquitoes out of an area so easily like that, no checkpoints, no security units. It's, my brother, sometimes some of these things get us, animated. But like I always say, let's pray that somehow the leadership will place a very high value to the lives of the citizens of this country. It is the moment we start doing that that you will see everybody connecting. There will be efforts made to see that the rights are respected, that human lives are protected. Not just you coming into office because you want to you want to bear the name, you don't want to walk the name. You just want to bear the name the governor. What are you doing with your security boots? So these are things, these are questions upon questions that we keep asking. And unfortunately, I think like due process said in one of the editions, every day we come with another challenge. Tomorrow again, you will hear another thing. And Zamfara, the other day, there was an issue. Like we are even talking of kidnappings. What about those that have been taken for ransom? Not that we just discussed now, that were killed even after collecting ransom. So it's just a state of, I don't want to say this, the nation has fallen, but I want to think that leadership has failed the people. And I wish that their minds will be put together to see how to resurrect or restore that bond that should exist between leadership and followership. I hope for that, Debo. I still hope for that. Back to you, Tochi.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ugochukwu. It is really sad what we are experiencing in Nigeria today, but we are hoping for the better tomorrow. Now, our last story for today. Nigeria's economy is, as of mid 2025, is marked by persistently weak Naira coupled with high inflation rates, impacting the purchasing power of the average Nigerian. The inflation rate stood at 22.22% in June 2025, down slightly from 22.97% in May 2025 and 23.71% in April 2025, indicating a modest easing, but remaining starkly high by global standards. This inflation rate is among the highest in the world in 2025 and reflects continued price pressures on food, fuel, and essential goods, which form a major part of the expenses for most Nigerians. Now, the Naira's weakness, what about it? Despite some recent stabilization and slight appreciation in official windows, like the Nigerian autonomous foreign exchange market, continues to heighten the cost of imports, placing upward pressure on prices of goods such as food, fuel additives, and industrial inputs. Now, this weak currency dynamic is linked to underlying challenges such as lower foreign exchange reserves, fluctuating oil revenue, which is Nigeria's main export, and structural economic vulnerabilities. Now, in terms of food inflation, food remains the largest component of inflation, hovering around 21.97% in June 2025. Food prices escalate, partly driven by insecurity in key food producing regions in the north, weather disruptions like floods and logistic bottlenecks. So, we are talking about Nigeria's economy here. Nigeria is devastated in all ramifications, in every aspect: the economy, security, education, agriculture, in every wise. I think the only thing prospering in Nigeria is entertainment, if you ask me. That is the only sector that is prospering and keeping people busy in Nigeria. Every other sector has collapsed. Ibrahim, what do you think?
All right. I must speak the hard truth. We just finished talking about insecurity, and now we delve into economy. And as usual, sad news everywhere. The common man today is not just struggling; he is suffocating. The naira has lost its dignity, and with it, the dignity of millions of Nigerians who work hard, yet can no longer afford bread, fuel, or even basic medication. Prices are rising, wages are stagnant, and survival has become a daily mirror. When the naira weakens, it is not just a currency problem, it is a national emergency and it should be treated as such. The market woman, the bus driver, the teacher, the civil servant, everyone will be affected. A bag of rice now, you clearly stated, a bag of rice now costs what a civil servant in a month. Transport fares have doubled. Electricity is epileptic, yet bills are constant. The currency goes down and the salary remain constant. The bill remain constant. A person will spend his monthly earning on foodstuff alone. What is the hope of a civil servant in Nigeria? What is the hope of our mothers in the market? What is the hope of a graduate, a young graduate pursuing a career? And yet, we are told to be patient, to tighten our belts. We are the leaders of tomorrow, they said, when they want to scam us. Well, those in power fly private jets and sign foreign deals, sending their children abroad to study, while they ridicule those who stay in Nigeria. The suffering of the common man has become normalized in Nigeria, and that is dangerous. But we can't just stay silent and keep watching and do nothing. That's what I believe. We must do something. And the best way is to make sure that we vote for the right people. That's the biggest strength we have, the power of votes. So Nigerians, they know it better because we are all suffering. But one sad thing, one of the irony in a democratic society is everyone has equal rights to vote. you that have awareness and you are enlightened and you know what you want, have the same voting capacity and right with someone who is a drug loose or someone who is a racist. So that's one of the saddest things in democracy. So I think the system have to change, or at least use the system to change the system by voting for the right people. Our the system should, I believe the Nigerian people should change the system by voting the right people, because over the years we have been voting for leaders on the basics of sentiment. I vote for someone because he's from my religion, from my tribe, from my region, and it has not been working. So it is high time for Nigerians to forge a common front and vote for leaders on the basics of competence, character, and capacity. Because if you're going to look at the statistics of what have been happening since the inception of the Fourth Republic in 1999, if you vote for someone from your own region, it's not directly favoring your own region. And let me tell you how. Let's take the first administration of Olusegun Obasanjo as a case study. Yes, clearly, the appointment goes largely to the people of southern part of Nigeria, but most of his infrastructure goes to the people of northern part of Nigeria. Olusegun Obasanjo has a reputation of building the modern Abuja. It is no longer news. He was the one who built the modern Abuja, and Abuja is part of northern part of Nigeria. Yaradua's regime. Yaradua was the one who created the Niger Delta Ministry, an amnesty program for Niger Delta, taking more than 2,000 Niger Deltas to go and study different courses abroad. And most of his infrastructural project goes to southern part of Nigeria, not northern part of Nigeria. But the appointment, yes, clearly, most of his appointment goes to the people of northern part of Nigeria. And Goodluck Jonathan built 6 universities in northern part of Nigeria, built an Almajiri school in northern part of Nigeria. And again, Kaduna, Abuja railway line was built by Goodluck Jonathan's regime. Most of his infrastructural project goes to northern part of Nigeria, and his appointment to southern part of Nigeria. Then Buhari. People were criticizing Buhari's government for what they are calling it nepotism. But I'm just seeing consistency. Most of his appointment goes to the people of northern part of Nigeria. But tell me any lucrative project that he did in northern part of Nigeria. The answer is none, apart from the university he built in Daura University of Transportation. There's no any other project that he completed. But he completed the second Niger Bridge, Lekki Deep Sea Port, Abeokuta Port Harcourt Rail Line, and a lot of lucrative projects in southern part of Nigeria. So if you're going to see, look at the Fourth Republic, you see one consistent trend. If you vote a leader from your own region, it's going to favor you in terms of appointment, but not projects. And what the common man needs is the project, not the appointment. Because if you give me an appointment, there is no guarantee that I'm going to do well with my own people. So
thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim. Thank you very much. Mr. Gochuku, do you have any comment on this?
Well, the long and short of it, Ibrahim has said a lot of it. Long and short of it is, if you want to rate any economy, you should rate it by how it affects the people. You don't rate an economy on paper. They'll tell you GDP is going up, this one is going up. But are the lives of the people being transformed positively? You cannot see it. You cannot see it anywhere. The doctors of recent applying on a strike if they have not even started the strike already. I just read this morning, nurses on one hand are also planning to go on a strike. So which spare of the country's economy is actually working? They will tell you tomorrow, okay, try to build up your own economy. I had this neighbor. In fact, I say I'm mentioning only one. There were two of them. One was into making of shoes. One was into making of bags. Now these guys tried their best. They did everything possible, but tell me the things that were breaking the business: lack of power supply. They have to buy fuel at an exorbitant price just to keep the business going. They will have to travel to get the materials, transport fare affected by the fuel hike. So you find out that they are under so much pressure, and before you know it, their businesses were collapsing. And by the time these businesses begin to collapse, unfortunately, they will tell you, oh, they are lazy youths. The youth does not want to sit back and find himself having to beg. Let's be honest with ourselves. No youth wants, I'm not justifying the fact that some of us will want to, some of the youths will want to go into dirty deals, but something pushes them into it. Trust me, if you had given them a well playing field, a level playing ground, many of these people may not. I'm not holding brief for anybody who is doing, there's no justification for dirty deals. But I'm saying it could have been curbed. It could have been, nipped in the bud in a situation where the youth has something productive. No youth wants to sit back and beg for money. But all these things they are doing to make ends meet are being frustrated by the basic things that the same government has to put in place. We're not asking them for too much. We're just asking them put these basic things in place, and then tomorrow you flash it in our faces that the economy is improving. Which economy? You have to tell us that the economy is improving when I can go to the market and then the food stuffs available are affordable. The market woman on the streets buys at a very exorbitant price and has to make profits. She too or he too has to raise the price to meet up with personal demands. And then before you know it, it's cracking down on the populace. So the long and short of it, Ibrahim has said almost everything, but let the government realize that for them to wake up any day, and I'm sure they know that, for them to wake up any day and say to themselves that the economy of the country is improving, it has to be said by the people. I'm sure it's even the people that should give that comment, not them. Let the people be the ones to stand up and say to the world, yes, our country is doing fine. It is not you. It is not you, the leader. If the led are frustrated, then why should leadership make noise? Back to you, Tucho.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much
Remind
for our
me of
speaker.
what Professor Lumumba said. He said they will just be deceiving us and telling us that we're doing well. He mean the imperial masters, that's the Western world. But the reality is, if the Western world started praising your government that they are doing well, you have to ask yourself, what are they doing wrong? Because now they say Nigerian economy is doing well, but we are not seeing anything on ground. In Nigeria, the common man are suffering. Everything is falling apart while they are saying we're doing well. Thank you very much, Mr. Chukura.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for your contributions. Education, security, and economy in Nigeria, they work hand in hand. And if security is affected, it will ultimately affect the economy, because people will not go to the farms and produce what Nigerians have to eat. So thank you all for your contributions. This is DDM TV show coming to you live from DDM studio. We will come back next time tomorrow morning for a fresh edition. Do not hesitate to hit the like button, make your comments, and then share this video. I am Toshku Raphael. See you next time. Bye-bye.